Hello and welcome to Brodual. Today we're going to take a look at the progress of a multiplayer Skyrim. Ever since the announcement of Skyrim, and even before that with previous titles, people have asked, what would an Elder Scrolls game look like if you could play with friends? Well, you can kind of get an idea with the Elder Scrolls Online, but let's stick to the main games. For nearly a decade, mods have tried to take on the challenge. We're going to show you where it's been in the past and whether an online multiplayer version of Skyrim is actually playable right now, and also where it's heading in the future. The year is 2011. The game has barely been out for a month and the creation kit isn't even available, and yet the first online Skyrim mod has been created. Although these early versions were never really playable, just seeing other real players jumping around stuck in that classic T-pose animation was enough to build excitement. There was now proof an online version of Skyrim was at least possible. Moving forward into 2015, we covered Tamriel Online. This was one of the first real online mods that offered a kind of playable Skyrim. You could host a server with your friends, but there were all sorts of issues. It got some things right, like basic player and NPC synchronization, but even then there were delays and it was very prone to bugs or crashes. It was also never complete. You could hit each other with swords, but magic and shouts didn't work. You could run around together, but if you moved around too fast or entered different areas too quickly, you'd just disappear. But at the very least, it showed that a real online multiplayer version of Skyrim might be possible. Another mod author saw all of the hassle of an online version and decided to go with something different. The Skyrim Couch Co-op mod offers a new 2-player mode for Skyrim, with one using a keyboard and the other a controller. This removed all of the problems with synchronization, but also came with its own issues. The second character doesn't have their own unique appearance, inventory or anything. They're basically an animated mannequin with only partially working animations. Also, since they don't have their own camera, they have to constantly position themselves within the view of the main character. Even setting up a basic attack can be tricky at first. But if you take the mod as just a bit of fun, it can offer an hour or two of entertainment. Now, Skyrim is home to the Nords, and as we know, NordVPN is the best one out there. The only thing better than that transition is today's sponsor NordVPN. By securely connecting you to one of over 5,400 servers from over 59 different countries, Nord keeps your online identity private. In a world where our privacy is shrinking, you should do everything you can to protect yourself online. The best feature for me is how it interacts with streaming services. With just a single click of a button, you can virtually put yourself in another country, taking advantage of their exclusive streaming services. Like on Netflix, maybe you're in the UK like us, you can switch to the USA with a single click and view their library. It also works to combat those pesky country blocks on YouTube, just mask your location and you're good to go. So go to nordvpn.com/brodual. There's a deal on right now where you can get a whole 68% off a 2-year plan, making it just $3.71 a month. Use our code BRODUAL and also get an extra month free. So get it today at nordvpn.com/brodual or use the link down below. Over the past 4 years, a few different groups of modders have tried to climb the never-ending mountain that is Skyrim Online. Most failed, but one still stands. Skyrim Together. If you've heard of it, you've probably heard of the original controversial release that locked it behind a paywall, but that's all in the past. The current version of Skyrim Together is completely free and available for everyone to download. Unlike previous versions of multiplayer, Skyrim Together only works on the special edition. It's also much easier to set up and even helps you bypass one of the main roadblocks for a lot of people: friends. Skyrim Together comes with its own custom launcher that automatically installs the mod for you. When you open the game, you can then connect to a public or private server. There's around a dozen public servers online, with people seemingly active throughout all times of the day. You can even chat with other players thanks to the mod's custom UI. You can connect to Skyrim Together with any old save file, but making a new one is probably the best for stability. As long as you've made your character and started the Unbound quest, you're good to go. Skyrim Together is by far the most stable version of an online mod to date. The synchronization for players during a lot of regular play is close to perfect, with only that lingering animation issue that sometimes causes characters to glide along the floor. Combat is also incredibly smooth, and for the first time it supports pretty much all forms of combat, including melee, ranged, magic and even shouts. So yes, you can finally fuss Rodar your friend off a cliff. It's a little iffy with the ragdoll animations, but it works. The mod duplicates all leveled enemies for nearby players. So if a bandit camp would normally have 3 bandits, but you enter as a party of 2, the camp will now have 6 bandits total. This was done to prevent crashing, but I think it also works well to make combat more challenging. Since combat is so smooth, PvP also works well. It registers blocks, updates quickly with the switching of weapons, and allows for some pretty fun gameplay. You can even transform into a werewolf or a vampire lord and smack the hell out of each other. You can track your opponent's health in the top left once again thanks to the mod's custom UI, and you can even kill each other. If you ever die while online, you'll fall to the ground, black out, and then reload your original save. However, for certain types of gameplay, the mod can be a bit of a hit and miss. This is because certain parts of the game are handled locally while others are handled online. Thankfully, there's in-depth documentation to the specifics of what you can and can't do online, but we'll try to give you a quick rundown of what Skyrim Together playthrough might look like. If you and a friend connect to a server, you'll want to travel to the same location. For that you can just run there or use console commands or the world map to teleport. The mod also comes with a custom command /TP player name to let you teleport directly to any other player. You'll notice that every player has their own unique appearance and it fully supports switching between all types of gear. When you join a server, you'll most likely see your weather and time shift. This is because it's tied to the server, so everyone has the exact same weather and time as the host. So there's no waiting or sleeping to skip time. Time will even freeze when you enter a menu, and then skip to catch up when you exit them. This can be a little jarring, but you can fix it by using the SkyrimSouls mod. This makes it so time continues while inside any menu, which works great alongside Skyrim Together. Questing is currently handled locally, but this won't stop you from completing quests together. As long as you both pick the same options and follow the same path in the quest, it should work fine. Although you might have issues with some of the more heavily scripted ones, like the Civil War. It's not the best, especially since you can't see the dialogue between other players and NPCs just yet, but it's definitely playable. Containers are only partially synced. Right now only static containers are shared, so things like chests, vendors and more will have an online inventory. But non-static containers like NPC loot and the items you drop physically won't register, since those are handled locally. A lot of the time the game behaves as you'd expect it to. Stealth works fine, and if a player gets caught with a bounty, you can watch the guards throw them right into a jail cell. You can then go on a 007 style mission to break them out of jail, or like me, get caught while trying to pick the lock and then getting thrown into the cell with them. Those types of interactions can be found throughout all types of gameplay. Honestly, I was surprised with just how well the mod works. It might even get Todd Howard's "it just works" seal of approval. In about 8 hours of combined playtesting, we maybe crashed 3 or 4 times, and that was when we were specifically testing the limits of the mod. During a couple of hours of normal play, I didn't crash a single time. There were still bugs of course, but they were sort of within the realm of what you'd expect for Skyrim. The horses are probably the best example. They don't work, but it doesn't exactly break the mod. One major missing feature is dragons. Those are handled locally, so at the very best you can watch your friends fight an invisible dragon. The public servers were nice too. People were more than willing to let you tag along for dungeon runs where the chat feature comes in handy. You could even just use the chat feature to hang out and talk about builds or something else. What's also handy is that when you're done with the online mode, you can just wave goodbye to your new friends, disconnect from the server and continue to play your solo game. It'll save all of your shenanigans online, but it won't have any negative impact on your world. As crazy as it sounds, Skyrim Together might be at its strongest right now with mods. As long as you both have the same mods installed and you aren't using mods that rely on SKSC, they should work fine. This includes custom armors, weapons and even spells. But the best mods to try might be some of the biggest out there. Those huge DLC style mods, like Skyrim Beyond Bruma, Falskar or the Dark End mod. We've covered all of these in the past, but they're all similar in the way that they add new lands to explore, separate from Skyrim. A full playthrough of the base game can take dozens of hours, and in that time you'll probably get tired of fighting through the bugs. But for a shorter, more compact experience, these DLC-like mods might be the way to go. Overall, the current state of Skyrim Together is the closest thing we have to a full multiplayer Skyrim. It's not perfect, but I think it'll surprise some of you with just how stable and functional it can be. But for some, it might be worth waiting just a little bit longer. In the works right now is a reborn version of Skyrim Together. This will be a large update that comes with a full new animation system, one that fixes the issues with the gliding. It'll also show full animations for things like lockpicking or riding a horse. The Reborn update will also fully fix dragons and will offer further improvements to systems already in place. It'll even offer support for Fallout 4. Once the Reborn update is out, we'll make another video to see just how much better it is, but until then you can find everything you need down below. As always, be sure to support mod authors whenever possible, and thanks for watching.